Welcome back, you guys. You just read Sand Scare, and now we know that the sand can be much more threatening and scarier than we may have thought in the beginning. Most people, when you think of a beach, you think of how healing it is, how relaxing, getting your tan on, all the fun, the partying. There's like this innate instinct, the basic human instinct for humans and even for canines. Dogs really love going to the beach and they run straight to the waters. And we just love to be immersed in the waters, the waves. Something about that just calls us. Along with the abundance of good things that comes with going to the beach or beach travel, there are also many hazardous dangers that can come at the beach. There's drowning. Many people think of the beach and the shark attacks, although they seldom occur. It's still something to think about. Even if you're on the coast of Australia, where all those jellyfish can get at you. So things like that. And while you're on land, you have to think about crimes, theft. That's a very popular, or even just like when they try to upsell you something.
Yes, right.
That's also something to think about. But nobody thinks about the sand being a danger or a hazard. Most kids, most children, when they go to the beach, they come with their little pail and their little shovel, and then they dig a little hole, they make a little sandcastle, and that's all fine and dandy until you keep digging a little bit more. A few centimeters is okay, but I believe more than 60 centimeters and we're in trouble.
Oh, structurally unstable.
Yeah, physics is out to get you because when sand is wet, it'll hold its shape. So if you're digging a hole, a lot of teens like to do this thing. Well, not even teens, a lot of just people, they'll go there with their friends and for fun, they'll dig a hole and they'll put their friend in there.
Yeah, right.
Cover them up to their neck, take pictures with them.
Just a head.
Yeah, it's just a head. And so that's all very fun. However, what sand does is it keeps structural integrity when it's wet. However, once it starts drying out, which is very easy to happen, it happens very quickly because of the sun, it loses that structural integrity and it collapses inward. And it's almost like quicksand. It just keeps going in.
And sand is heavy too.
Yes, unimaginably. Like most people think sand is just little grains, but thousands, millions of little grains on top of you is what could be the difference between life and death. And in San Diego, a 16-year-old came very close to the death side of that because she was with her friends and they were doing a thing where they were digging, and she made a 3-meter deep hole, climbed inside, and when they actually covered her up until like her armpits. But when she was like, all right, I'm ready to get out, it already dried up. And what happened was, as they were trying to extricate her from that hole, the sand just kept coming in. Like she started going under and more immersed as time was passing by, and they were trying to dig her out and they were unable to. It got up to her neck and they had to call, 911 and try to get her out of there. Luckily it has a happy ending because they were able to make a widening of hole around her where they were able to get her out, and she had no physical injuries, just probably the mental scars,
the trauma of it.
Of all of this, and luckily she made it. But it's something to think about that when you're near a beach, there are many hazards, both in the water and on land. So that's something to think about now that I go to Thailand.
Yeah, this is definitely a new fear that has unlocked.
Yeah, definitely.
No holes on the beach.
No holes. Why? I mean, a lot of people like to go to the beach, but why do you think people and dogs are so attracted to the beach?
Honestly, just the sound of the waves. I think for me, I love the sound of rain and I love the sound of the waves. It's something so mentally clarifying, I think. And one of my friends, whenever she's having a hard time, she would always suggest a beach trip. And then she'd just be like, give me 30 minutes. Give me 30 minutes of like silence to like contemplate my existence looking at the water. And I think a lot of people feel that way if they're having a hard time. There's something about just watching the tide come in and out, the waves come in and out. It's very healing. And maybe it's just alone time with you and yourself for you to think about maybe something that's stressing you out or life decisions, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, very peaceful.
And like beach, usually people go to the beach in the summer. So also like the summer vibes when you think of that and everything that's going on at the beach. There's a lot of parties. I like to go get my hair braided when I go to the beach. So it's something
nice
that I always like correlate, like just make a connection with a beach and getting my hair braided. I love it. I like the vibes at the beach, so that's what attracts me.
Oh, less stress, just in general.
Yeah.
The closer you are to the
nice.
beach, the less stressed that you are.
Yeah. Oh, what do you think are the biggest hazards at the beach?
As I mentioned in the introduction, I like to go to Sokcho. So the east coast of Korea is very famous for big waves and surfing. And they also get a lot of storms any time of the year, really. Maybe a few years ago, I went to Sokcho and the water went out too far. And there were some very curious people that were like, oh, what's happening? And ventured in, and then it was like a mini tsunami, but very, very mini. But like the water went out, people went out, and then the wave came back in, and many people lost their phones and their wallets.
Oh my God.
It was very chaotic.
That's the real tragedy.
Yeah, that's the real tragedy. But thankfully, no one got hurt. It was just a kind of a loss of ego, maybe, and physical possessions.
Yeah.
But watching that from a distance, I was like, wow, water is powerful.
Yeah. Like a lot of people that don't have experience with the waves crashing onto them, like they don't realize how powerful water is.
Yes.
It's quite heavy. It's quite heavy.
And I think a lot of people go to the beach that can't swim because they think, oh, I'm just going to walk in the water, and maybe they get a little bit of confidence to maybe go up to their waist, and then they might get caught in a rip current or an eddy current that can take them further out, which is really dangerous.
Oh, so that's one of my nightmares. So when I think of the biggest hazards, like yes, in the back of my mind, I'm like, is that a shark? But getting dragged back by a wave and then ending up too far and then drifting off into the vast emptiness, that's my worst nightmare.
My personal biggest hazard is feeling seaweed on your feet because you don't know if it's seaweed, you don't know if it's a fish.
It's a monster.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
But just that little tickle on your toes, I'm out. I'm getting out. Give me a towel.
Yeah.
I'm done.
You're canceled. The beach is canceled. We hope you enjoyed this article as much as we did, and we hope you use the vocabulary and practice it in your daily life. And we'll see you in the next article.
Abundant.
Abundant.
Localism.
Localism.
Pale.
Pale.
Extricate.
Extricate.
Disperse.
Disperse.